Hello, Talem Lenga from Mouse Coding, back with the tutorial. This is part 2 of PHP registration and logging in system. So previously recorded the whole video with Canvas video, and then unfortunately there was no audio, so I'm not uploading that video because you just be seeing stuff happening without understanding what is happening. So I am making a recording again. What I will do is I'm going to show you the code that I had built up in the whilst I was recording the video with Canvas video. So where you left off in part 1 was here, where we just created the mouse code registration form, and thereafter we want to submit the form within itself. So we added the action and we referenced it to echo PHP. We referenced it to echo server php-self. So what this means is once we click on submit the form, it's going to reload itself and trying to find if these fields of information, and if these fields of information, those fields will be posted to the database using the self. So the task that we have first of all in this part 2 is we'll connect to the database. So I'll show you the connection to the database, then I'll show you the code that will post the information post. What I started is let me hide this. I included a file called db.php, and then I created this file db.php. So in db.php we declared a variable connect, and then called new PDO MySQL and the host, which is the localhost. Then the DB name is new tutorial database. The user is root, and password it's empty, so it is nothing. Then we say connect, set attribute PDO attribute error mode, PDO error mode exception, and then I added the insert pcra.git and its value is 0, so that once we try to validate the email, it doesn't give us errors on the screen. So I'll show what I'm talking about. So let me get back to register.php. So here what we'll do is now we're connected to the database, so I can refresh this page. It's connected to the database. If I try to add some let me change the name of the database to tutorials, and then I try to refresh. It shows that we have a fatal error, which is uncaught PDO exception, and non-table or non-database new tutorials, and it gives us on which line the error is. It shows line 2. So if we come here, it shows us we're on line 2 here. It also gives us the name of the file, so it says login db.php on line 2. So you specifically go to check the file that has been mentioned and on which line, so that you can figure out where the error is. So here the error is saying db name db not found. So if I remove this, I save, and I hit on reload, it shows no error. So I'm hiding this other code because I want to talk about the code that is on the screen. So what we're going to do is now post this information to the database. So we'll say, if we set post username, because our method here, the method of the form submission is post. If I used get, I should have said if get, not post here. Should have been get. And input post here should have been input get. So I'm using post, that's why I say if you set post username, then we say username, we declare a variable called username, we trim, and then we also do filter what username should be there. So why we're trimming is in case somebody copies, like they want to copy this name, they copy together with the space and they push it in here. There will be space starting there at the start of at the beginning of the word. But this trim, what you do is going to remove all white spaces before posting the data into the database, so that the next time the user will come to visit the page or to log in, they will not have issues. Same for email, password. Then input post, we are calling the post, then the username, then filter sanitize special characters, saying that we need to sanitize our input string or our input field, such that in case someone decides to enter their HTML in here, you shouldn't get the HTML back. Everything is converted to HTML entities, and this will be is what is like to be pushed in the database, and like what they may be trying to achieve. So I added a function called clean, and this function is getting one parameter, and then we just return HTML special characters as well as returning stream. So I eventually decided to remove the trim which was here. If you can remember, there was some trim here, but I removed it and pushed it in a function so that we just call one function and it will be able to do two things. That's why here I was equaling the name clean with the username. If you have never done functions before, just try to copy this and run it. Functions are very helpful for you to use in PHP. You can call them over and over and they'll be able to do what you defined just once. So that is what is happening. Apart from that, I added the string length. This is a PHP embedded function. What this one does is it is checking the length of the username. If somebody enters in 3 or characters that are less than 3, they'll be reminded that a username cannot be less than 3 characters. Then I came to try and sanitize the email. In case someone enters an email that is not valid, they will be reminded that your email is not valid. So let's test the email aspect. So in the email, we are going to remove the email type. We're going to say type is text, and then we are trying to validate the email. So let me say echo email. Then I will refresh this. Then I'll enter entirely my name. Then I'll enter my email. Let me remove something from here, just like this. Then I'll enter password and I'll click on. So it will say invalid email and it has exited the page. That's why we can't see anything. So it has exited the page. If we get back here, we see that the email is not valid. If we add an @ there and we add in our password and the name is already there, then it's going to call the email that we typed in there. So this function, the function to validate the email, is working. So the string length is supposed to be for password. So if password is less than 5, user will be told that your password is less than 5. So we can also echo password here. And try to run with less than 5 characters for password. Say passwords cannot be less than 5 characters. So restricting the user that the user should create in some more than 5 characters for their password. So once you've done that, what we're trying to check now on this next code is we're trying to check if the user is already created, is if the account already exists in the users table. So we say query is equal to connect, prepare, select email from user tables where email is equal to question mark. Then we execute and we call the array which is email, and then we count. So what we're counting the rows, those rows which have the email. So if in the users table the email there's a row which has an email, we're going to say user with email is already registered. Else, then now we can uncomment this other code now so that we can push it to the server. So what I'll do is I'm going to move this function. Okay, I can maintain the clean function, but what I'll do is I'll remove the echo here, and then I'll post it here so that we clean the data that is being pushed. By the way, you can see that here there is a password hashed. So what we're doing now is we are changing the password from the original typed in password and hashing it as we are saving it into the server, so that in case somebody gets access to the server or to the database, they will not be able to see the actual passwords that people typed in. Those passwords have been converted into something else. So let me also show you what this password hashed is before we post the user to the database. So I'll just say echo hashed password, then I'm going to comment this. I'm going to comment this. Then I'll reload this, and then I'm going to fill in some information. Then I'm going to say 1 2 3 4 5 6. Then so we say undefined variable password hashed. So let's check. We have an undefined variable, or we commented off the where we defined the password hashed. So I'm going to uncomment this, then I will reload. Now we have 1 2 3 has been changed to this. So if I reload, what to do is what will happen is we'll get a different aspect of this apart from the $2 number, y and stuff. So the rest is going to change. So Italy, and I'll say 1 2 3 4 5 6. So you see it is something else starting from the dollar here. So if I reload, we get something else from here again. If I reload again, the same password, we get something else again there. So meaning no two passwords will ever be the same in the database. Even if the users use the same passwords, they will never be the same in the database. So now let's post the user to the database. We see if we can save them. We can save their credentials, and then from there we'll take it forward to try and create the login form. So when you refresh this, first user will be me, Mutale at mutamaus@gmail.com. My password is going to be 1 2 3 4 5 6. Then I'm going to create the account. So we have gotten something like undefined, code to undefined function clean, and then 38. So we 938 is not recognizing the function clean. So what we'll grab this function from here where it is, and we'll paste it up even outside here, outside the if state. Or let me even actually post it to if I want, I can paste it to DB so that we can use it in another file. So I can post it here, and then once I do a reload, we should see that the user has been posted. So Mutale successfully submitted to the database. So if we try to submit Mutale again, or if I try to refresh, we should get that Mutale is already submitted. So user with email Mutamaus is already registered. So in this case, we have registered our first user. So let's register another user, Andrew. And his email is Andy1 123, then we say 1 2 3 4 5 6. Then we create account. Andre successfully submitted to the database. So we can open our database and browse. You can see that the two users have been submitted, and their IDs are different. Their passwords were 1 2 3, but the hash has saved it into different forms. I added the user role. The user role is still 0. The date created is almost is automatically pre-filled, and we have registered a user. So what we'll do now is we are going to pause this video here. Next, when we come back, we'll create a logging in form and then be able to log in the user. Once we log in the user, we'll see where we can, if we can define the different roles of admin as well as user, so that we can separate pages that they will see depending on their user role. Thank you very much. If you find this content to be useful, subscribe to Mouse Coding.